All right, so let's talk about this just very quickly by hand first, and then we'll talk about using your calculators. Right. So the easiest radical equation to solve is a square root. Okay? And it's solved like any other equation that you would solve. If you're doing this by hand, you work to isolate your variable. So we undo all the operations to that variable. Usually it's in reverse order of operations. So we isolate our root x by subtracting 5 from both sides. And then, just like you would with anything else, you undo the operation that's being done to x in order to isolate x completely. So to undo a square root, you would square both sides. So a squares, or a power of whatever the index is, will undo the radical. So in a square root, the unwritten index is 2. So we're going to square both sides. We get x is equal to 16, and that is our solution. Okay, try this one on your own. Use the same kind of process. So you look to isolate the expression that contains your variable. So we undo reverse order of operations here. So we undo the 5. We're left with cube root of 8x plus 3 is equal to 3. Once we get our whole expression that contains the variable alone, we can then undo the operation to that expression containing the variable. So cube root, we take whatever the index is as our power. So we're going to cube both sides. That cancels our radical, leaving just the expression that's inside. 3 cubed is 27. And then it becomes a linear equation that we can now solve using traditional means. Undo the addition of 3. Subtract a 3 from both sides. And then isolate the x completely by dividing both sides by 8. And you get x is equal to 3. Okay, now, if you do these by hand, you will want to plug the numbers back into the original expression and make sure they work. So 3 times 8 is 24, plus 3 is 27. Cube root of 27 is 3. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. So it checks. This one as well. 6 square root of 16 is 4. 4 plus 5 is 9. It checks. If you're solving this using your calculators, which is, again, a number of you are already doing, it's just a matter of enter it. Okay? The one thing that you will have to do for radicals other than square roots is you'll need to convert them into a form that works for you. So if you have the updated operating system, for a problem like this, you could type in solve and then the root key, parentheses, take the expression that's inside the base of your root, and then the in followed by a comma, followed by the index of that root. Minus 5 is equal to negative 2. Solve for x. So if you have the updated operating system, you could enter it in this form. Okay? If you don't have the updated operating system, or you're using the calculators that are accessible from your computer, then you need to convert it into rational power form. So if that was the case and you wanted to use your calculator, so I'll just type it in here, you would use solve. Okay? Now if you take this whole expression, just put it in grouping symbols. 8x plus 3, so it's in its own set of grouping symbols, to the power of, and the cube root converts into a rational power of, and again, it's always 1 over whatever your index is, so 1/3. And then we can subtract 5, set that equal to negative 2, and solve for x. Okay, so it winds up, it's stating the same thing, it's just it's written in a different manner. Either way, you should get your answer to confirm that 3 was correct.